Here's where I want for you to really understand. When it comes to content and engagement, there are likely a few things that really resonate, that you are known for, that people follow you for, that you can double down on, that you can repurpose, that you can recreate in new ways to maximize the results that you are getting. I'm Jenna Kutcher, your host of the Goal Digger podcast. I escaped the corporate world at the age of 23 with nothing more than a $300 camera from Craigslist and a dream. Now I'm running a 7-figure online business that feels even better than it looks, all from my house in small town Minnesota with my family. Here, we value time as our currency. We mix the woo and the work, and we are in the pursuit of building businesses that give us the freedom to live lives that we love. I've always loved turning big goals into reality, and I'm here to help you do the same. This isn't just a peek behind the curtain. Come along with me and my guests as we tear the whole curtain down. Every week, we tackle practical, no-fluff marketing strategies and host honest discussions on what works and what doesn't. Join me and my expert guests for actionable insights to help you grow your dream business with confidence. Pull up a seat and get ready to be challenged, inspired, and empowered. This is the Goal Digger podcast. We've all heard the advice to work smarter and not harder. But what if there was a hidden key? One simple principle that could completely change the way you approach your business. As I was diving into audits and plans for next year, I kept seeing this one principle popping up everywhere. It was like a light bulb moment, and it inspired this very episode because if it's showing up for me, there's a really good chance it's impacting you too. Imagine if just a small fraction of what you do could drive nearly all of your results, giving you back time and energy, all while amplifying your success. Today, I'm diving into this surprisingly simple rule that could help you 10x your business, covering everything from revenue and audience engagement to daily productivity. Grab a notebook because I'll show you exactly how this principle can help you zero in on the work that truly moves the needle. Ready to see a little business magic in action? Let's dive on in. Picture this. You're at a party and someone asks you what you do as a marketer. Like, how do you even begin to describe it? You have to generate leads, score them, contact them, create content, gather data, and tomorrow you have to do it all over again. And you also are spending time wondering if all that you're doing is even working. Marketers are spread way too thin, but HubSpot has a better way. With the help of HubSpot's collection of AI tools, Breeze, and features like Content Remix, you can turn one piece of content into a suite of assets. You can also pinpoint the best prospects with predictive lead scoring and level up your campaign KPIs with a new analytics suite. So your day-to-day becomes less busy work and more driving revenue through the roof. And most importantly, you'll have a way easier time describing what you do at parties. Visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. That's HubSpot.com/marketers. Before we dive in, let me take you back. Like way back to college, because that is where I first learned about this principle. It's one of those rare concepts that has only grown more relevant with time. And with so many options and demands today, so much information out there, the importance of focusing on what really drive results has never been clearer. So what am I talking about? What principle is this? It is Pareto's principle. It's also known as the 80-20 rule. And it's this idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. This principle was originally discovered by Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who noticed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the population. Since then, it has become a go-to framework in business, in productivity, and heck, even in your personal life. At its core, Pareto's principle is about identifying and amplifying the high impact 20% so that you can maximize results, streamline your workload, and cut out distractions. So with that in mind, let's dive into the 5 key areas in your business where the 80-20 rule can make a massive impact on your success. The first one is offers and revenue. So when we think of this 80-20 idea and the insight that it brings, about 20% of your offers are likely generating 80% of your revenue. Now, we actually see this in a few different spots within my business. When it comes to affiliate partnerships, we can easily see that 20% of our partnerships bring in about 80% of our revenue. This was something we discovered a few years ago, and it really helped us focus in on going deep and not wide. Now, this doesn't just happen in my business with affiliate partnerships. The same goes with my business structure and our offers. And while I am someone who now at this stage of business has many different revenue streams, 20% of our offers bring in over 80% of our revenue. So it is at play in our business in so many different areas when it comes to offers and revenue. Now, here's something I want for you to hear loud and clear, because I know a lot of my audience is multi-passionate like me. We're excited, we're creative, and a lot of times that can lead to us wanting to create new things all of the time, right? It's really easy to get tired of having the same offer and putting it out into the world over and over and over again. But let me tell you, I have not created a new offer in over 4 years, and I have not created a new core offer in over 6 years. If you dig into your sales data, let me tell you, you are probably going to notice that just a few of your products or services consistently bring in the most revenue. This is a classic example of the 80-20 rule in action. About 20% of what you offer is probably driving 80% of your income. So what does this have to do with creating new things? Well, first off, if you think about it, diluted focus gives you diluted results. And if you are someone who is constantly creating new offers, you're not actually letting this principle be at play in your business. Again, it's this idea of going deep and not wide. And a lot of times new entrepreneurs are constantly throwing spaghetti at the wall, creating new offer after new offer, never giving them the amount of time and energy that they require to grow legs and actually get you results. So here's the key of what I want for you to be thinking about. Instead of spreading yourself thin, trying to create new things, trying to promote everything, what I want for you to do is first understand, what are your top performers? There's probably a good chunk of my audience who can't speak to what is driving the revenue. What are your top products? So first things first, take a closer look at what is the spread for you and where the majority of your revenue is coming from. And then dig in to understand what makes them so successful. Are they maybe solving a specific problem for your audience? Do they stand out in the market? Once you identify what your best sellers are, think about how you could maybe double down and scale them or promote them more effectively. When I think about my business, I think about how it has been this beautiful rinse and repeat model for the last 6 years. And guess what happened 6 years ago for me? I finally became a mom. And so this model is something that a lot of times creative people have a challenge with because it can feel boring, right? The rinse and the repeat, let me tell you, is the gift. It is not the burden. It is the gift that keeps on giving. But how do you build a business that allows for it to be rinse and repeat? It is understanding Pareto's principle and doubling down on your marketing efforts for those high revenue products, or even creating interesting offers around them so that you can promote them in many different ways. And it doesn't feel like you are constantly saying the same thing over and over again. If you are able to focus on scaling what is already working, I promise you, you are going to free up so much time and so many resources that would otherwise be spent on lower impact offers. And it's interesting because even as I say this with such conviction, we can get caught up in this even in my own business, where we double down on something that we thought maybe would do better than it did, or we are spending our time and energy and our marketing on things that are underperforming. And if we stop doing that, not only are we going to have more resources to go for the things that are actually working, but we will grow faster with less effort and stress. So here's what I want for you to ask yourself. What are the offers in your business that could make the biggest impact if you focus just a little bit more energy on them? Think about like lighting a match and putting gasoline on the fire that is already burning. So here's what I want for you to do with this idea of your offers and revenue and Pareto's principle impacting them. first, take some time to really investigate your numbers. I often talk about the show Shark Tank. I love the Shark Tank. I recently got Coco interested in it, and it's like the best thing as a mom. But get Shark Tank ready with your numbers. Really understand your numbers. Imagine standing in front of Mark Cuban and him asking you, which offer of yours is driving the most revenue? And what does that look like? See which offers are bringing in the most revenue and results for your business, and then make sure you schedule your time and your energy and you put your resources towards what is already working. So make sure that the way that you are setting up your marketing, the way that you're spending your time, the way that you're spending your money is actually moving the needle on the thing that is already working. Oftentimes we get so swept up into the areas of our business that we forget aren't actually delivering results. And so whether you need to do a time audit or a money audit, make sure that you are giving the right offers the time and the energy that they need, and also giving them the space on your marketing calendar that they deserve. So this is where the audits are going to come in loud and clear. Look at your offers and revenue, see if Pareto's principle is at play. And if it is, focus on going deeper and not wider. And if this is a reminder for you that you don't always need to be creating new products and new offers, instead you could be doubling down and getting really good at selling the things already working, well, the offer is out. Your invitation is sent. I hope you RSVP yes. Okay. The second place in your life and business where Pareto's principle is likely at play has to do with your content and the engagement it is getting. So get this, roughly 20% of your content is likely going to drive 80% of your audience engagement. Now, one of the things that I have really recognized is that a lot of times with social media, again, it's like a spaghetti at the wall experience for a lot of us. And if you have not done a social media audit lately, I am linking up an episode from earlier this year in the show notes where I walk you through the exact process of how to do an audit, of what results you will see through the audit, and how it is going to save you so much time and energy and frustration, especially when it comes to content creation. So if you have ever actually taken a step back to do that audit or to analyze your content, you probably started to see patterns. And I love when I start to see patterns in my business. It helps me to understand and reverse engineer and systemize how to leverage those patterns to get maximum results. And so maybe the pattern was noticing a small percentage of your posts or videos or long form content or articles are likely driving the majority of your likes, shares, and comments. This is true no matter what industry you are in. So what does this mean for us? How do we use this to our advantage? First, it is so important to identify those high performing pieces. And one thing I want to note here is that a lot of times when we do audits, we're looking at things like reach and views and likes and comments. And while those might be performing well in terms of engagement, I want to stress the importance at looking at what is actually high performing in terms of real results, whether it is email subscribers or sales or new clients or new contacts. Like those to me actually speak way louder than the high engagement pieces that are just fun for people to look at, but don't actually inspire them into action. But you want to identify, okay, what are the high performing pieces? And if it were me, I would be looking at both engagement, but also at results, and then really start to understand what is actually resonating. Are there maybe specific topics or formats or styles that seem to strike a chord with your audience? Maybe it's educational tips. Maybe it's the behind the scenes glimpses. Maybe it's personal stories that consistently get your people talking and sharing. But you are likely going to see patterns and trends that are going to help you as we move into the new year understand what you need to be talking about and how you need to be sharing. And here again, once you identify what is already working for you, this is where you are invited to double down on it. Create more content in that style, cover similar topics, or even repurpose your top posts in different ways to reach new audiences. By leaning into the type of content that is already grabbing people's attention, you're not just increasing engagement, you're also amplifying your reach and reconnecting with people who are more likely to stick around and become loyal followers, and beyond that, likely move move into other places that you own and can control, like your email list or onto your website. So one thing that we're doing right now in my business, where we definitely saw Pareto's principle at play, is we are analyzing my blog. If you didn't know this, I have literally been blogging. I basically started my business from a blog back in 2010. And so right now we are looking at what pieces bring in the most traffic, what areas can we update, how can we improve our top performing content. And let me tell you, to me, this is so nerdy, but it is so exciting. And it's a lot more inviting to me than just analyzing social media, because I am going to swear by this for the rest of my days. Long form content is queen. Like, it is queen. And what's beautiful about it is, even the other day, I was updating a blog post that we published a year and a half ago that is one of our top traffic generators. And the traffic is likely fueled by Pinterest and search engine optimization. And it is so cool to see something that we created over a year and a half ago getting thousands of visits every single month. And so I am like going back and improving that. Whereas on social media, it doesn't really make sense to go to like one of your top performing posts from a month ago and tweak it and see how you can even make it better. And that is why I will always live and die by long form content. So I just want you to understand that sometimes it's not about creating new content. It can be about refreshing long form content that's already working for you. But here's where I want for you to really understand: when it comes to content and engagement, there are likely a few things that really resonate, that you are known for, that people follow you for, that you can double down on, that you can repurpose, that you can recreate in new ways to maximize the results that you are getting. So as you plan your next content pieces, ask yourself, how can I recreate or build my top performing content to keep the momentum going and to engage my audience on a deeper level? Like, maybe you had a post that really just kicked off on social media, but you didn't have a strong call to action that would actually invite people to either follow you or to save the post or to share it or to comment a keyword or to get onto your email list. And so maybe you can look at that and ask yourself, how could I make this even better? And then again, double down on it. So as a reminder, roughly 20% of your content is likely driving 80% of your audience engagement. Leverage Pareto's principle here to help you create less content, but have a greater impact and greater results with it. It's time to turn that big, bold idea of yours into a business. You've got the creativity, the hustle, and the passion, but there's one tool that takes it from a great idea to a thriving shop, and that's Shopify. Shopify makes it ridiculously easy to transform your dream into an online store that actually sells, whether it's a product, a service, or a membership. Shopify's platform offers the world's #1 checkout, which means more sales and fewer abandoned carts. And with Shop Pay, you can boost conversion rates by up to 50%. That's more cha-ching moments. Think about the small brands out there absolutely crushing it. The secret behind so many of them is Shopify. Helps you sell online, in person, and everywhere in between, so your shop is thriving wherever your customers are. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/goaldigger, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/goaldigger to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/goaldigger. You know, running a business is a lot like growing a garden, which is something I am obsessed with. You start with an idea, you nurture it, and before you know it, things are growing and fast. But here's the thing. Just like any garden, running a business has its weeds, the payroll, the HR, the paperwork. And that's why I have to tell you about a move we just made in my own business in switching to Gusto. Gusto takes the hassle out of payroll and HR. They're like that expert gardener who steps in to weed, water, and make sure everything's blooming just right. Like, imagine having all of your payroll taxes filed automatically, onboarding a breeze, and benefits that work with your budget, because Gusto makes all of that possible. Plus, they genuinely care about small businesses like yours and mine. I mean, it's no wonder Gusto is rated the #1 payroll product for small businesses. 4 out of 5 employers say Gusto helped them stay compliant with federal and state regulations. And with Gusto's simple guided software and user-friendly interface, payroll and HR are no longer exhausting, they're rewarding. Do you want all of this and more with no hidden fees? Try it out for 3 months free at gusto.com/goaldigger. That's gusto.com/goaldigger. Okay, the third place that is likely impacted by our friend Pareto's principle has to do with your marketing channels and your client acquisition. So what does this mean? About 20% of your marketing efforts likely yield 80% of your results, sales, or clients. So when I was preparing for this episode, I was doing a little bit of research, and studies show that small business owners spend on average 20 to 30% of their time every single week on marketing. This is translating to around 10 to 15 hours per week for a typical 40 to 50 hour work week. So we are spending so much time on our marketing, and there's a really good chance that your marketing sucks, that it's not working for you. If I had to guess, you are probably using a mix of platforms to reach your audience. And here's the thing. I want for you to understand this. Not all channels are created equal. There is a really good chance that only a few of the marketing channels that you are creating for and you're showing up on and you're engaging with are consistently bringing in your highest quality leads, the ones most likely to become paying clients. And so I want for you to think about this. One thing that I've talked about on this show over the last couple of years is how much data has been a game changer for us. And I will say, for about a decade of being an entrepreneur, I could not necessarily speak to the value of a follower or the value of someone coming from a Facebook ad into my ecosystem, or the value of a specific email subscriber that came from a specific platform, whether it was a podcast or Instagram. And over the last few years, I've really started digging in to understand not only client acquisition, but like which platforms are actually bringing us not just leads, but qualified leads, leads that turn into sales. And what do we do in order to reach people at the most effective level so that we're not spending 10 to 15 hours a week on marketing? Like, it is crazy when I think about all of the things we do. And what I often smile about when it comes to entrepreneurship is that so many of us become entrepreneurs because we are so passionate about the thing or the topic or the product that we've created. And we imagine our days are just spent in this like creative energy doing the thing. When we really break it down and we look at the time that we are spending as entrepreneurs, and a very small fragment is likely leveraged on doing that thing that you were so passionate about, you started your business around. And we are so bogged down in the admin and the marketing and the messaging and all the other things. And so it's no wonder why entrepreneurs are getting burnt out. It's no wonder that entrepreneurs are not successful. And so when we think about Pareto's principle of the fact that 20% of your marketing efforts are likely getting you 80% of your clients, we have to really think about where are our sales and inquiries actually coming from. This might allow you to take a step back from a few platforms that maybe are underperforming or not working great for you and double down on where your clients are actually coming from. One thing we recently did is that I had invested for the last year on a platform. I'm not going to say which one it is because I'll probably do a whole episode about it, but I went really deep on a platform and our engagement was awesome. We were growing our following. Like, it was going so well. By all means, the metrics were looking really positive, but what we realized because of our data is that it wasn't actually translating into real business results. And so while the engagement and the followers and all of that was shiny and great, it didn't actually move the needle on our business. And so what does that mean? Not only was I able to save a ton of money for my business by not investing in a team to help me with that, but I also am able to save a ton of time in my business, knowing that while that platform is great for engagement and connections, it's not actually really impacting our business's bottom line. And so again, diluted focus will give diluted results. And so the more concentrated you can get and the more clarity you have around what your efforts are actually doing in terms of results, the more that you can zero in your focus and focus on the things that matter. Because once you know where your best leads are coming from, you can refocus your efforts there. You can invest more time, more energy, more budget into the platforms that are working and reduce the time spent on those that aren't actually bringing in results. This doesn't mean that you have to cut out the lower performing channels entirely. We did not do that. I'm still showing up on that platform, but the level of investment and time and money that I'm putting into it is significantly decreased. And I want to put all of that time and money and energy onto the platforms that are working. So if you can strategically focus on your top channels, not only are you going to maximize your client acquisition, but you're not going to spread yourself too thin. You're going to eliminate that feeling that so many of us have of constantly being busy on platforms that aren't actually moving the needle. So again, take a close look at your metrics. Ask yourself, what channels deserve the spotlight in my marketing strategy and which channels are actually bringing me in clients? And chances are you're going to save yourself a lot of time when you do that. The fourth way that Pareto's principle was showing up for us, and it's probably showing up for you, is customer relationships and referrals. So how does this work here? Roughly 20% of your customers are probably responsible for 80% of your referrals or repeat purchases. These are the people that are your diehard people. They buy everything that you put out. Anytime you have a new product, they are chomping at the bit. They are the people that are sending their friends to you. There is a small portion of your audience, no matter what size your audience is, that is likely responsible for the majority of your referrals or your repeat purchases. And we've all heard the stats of like it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than to keep an existing one. This is especially true when we look at that 20% of your client base that are the people who have the lifetime value, who bring that value in with referrals. And those are the people that you really want to invest in. You want to see them. You want to hear them. You want to stay in communication with them. Those are your people. I will never forget when I was a wedding photographer, when I had finally broken the threshold of like my first year of being a nobody, of getting those clients. After that first year, the majority of my leads and clients came from referrals of past clients. And so that first year, when I started out as a wedding photographer, I paid for advertising on a popular wedding platform at the time. And that was how I got my initial chunk of clientele. But after that year, I was really able to fill my books from referrals from my past clients. And it was so interesting because it took me a while to understand this and realize this, that I didn't necessarily have to purchase ads. I didn't have to be on social media screaming into the void. It made sense for me to take a lot of my time and energy and efforts. And again, it took me a while to learn this, but once I did, it changed everything. And this was when I created an email list of all of my past clients, and I was serving and staying in touch with those past clients. And a lot of times people miss this opportunity because if you are in a field like wedding photography, say, you really only typically work with those clients once or maybe twice. Because I was a wedding photographer. I wasn't necessarily a baby photographer or a family photographer. I shot those types of photos for a few of my diehard clients, but it's easy for people in that service industry to write it off and be like, I don't need to keep in touch with them. They're never going to book me again. But if you do a really good job and you stay front of mind for them, reminding them of how epic their experience was with you and how beautiful the finished product was, they will refer you out until they are blue in the face. And so what was amazing is like, I can think of specific clients where I ended up shooting their sister's wedding, their brother's wedding, their best friend's wedding. Like I ran the gamut in certain families, and I probably made 5-6 figures from one client because I was referred out so many times of that. And so what I want for you to consider is like, what if you spent just an hour a week serving your diehard clients, your current clients, and either increasing their lifetime value as a customer if you have some sort of value ladder or you have more than one offer, or just again, staying front of mind and helping you get referrals. In most businesses, a small group of loyal customers often plays a huge role in driving growth. These are the people who cannot get enough, who love what you do, who come back again and again, who spread the word to others. This is literally living proof of the 80-20 rule in action. And so the question shouldn't be, how do you get out and market to the masses? It should be, how do I nurture these relationships? The first place to do this is start by identifying who these loyal customers are. Look at your repeat buyers, the ones who engage with you consistently, or look at the people who have referred friends and family to your business. once you know who they are, take steps to make them feel valued. I would argue that spending an hour a week really pouring into these people is going to be so much more valuable than spending an hour creating a reel that's going to live and die with a social media algorithm and likely not even get seen by the people you created it for. So you could have loyalty perks, you could have early access, you could give them new products, you could do exclusive discounts, you could just send them a thank you card and check in on them. But I think that this is an area of business where a lot of us are so obsessed with getting more followers, with putting up more content, with doing all these things that we forget, like, show up and serve the people who are already there. And if you do a good job, they will come back and they will bring friends. Another way to do this is to ask for people's feedback. So ask, what do you love most about my products or services? What do you want to see in the future? And when you show that you're actually listening to them, you not only make people feel appreciated, but you're also gathering valuable insights. So if you haven't done like a survey of your audience in a long time, now would be a really good time to do that. If you do not have the clear data points that you need to really understand who are those people for you, a survey can be a great way to do it. And the second thing to note on this one is don't hesitate to encourage people to refer you. Like, if you start an email list and have all your past clients on it and you just use it as a way to keep them in the loop, to keep them up to date as to what you're doing, you can also have a very simple nudge, like a referral program or a special thank you for bringing in new clients. It can go a long way. By actively cultivating relationships with your past clients, with your top consumers, you can fuel organic growth and create a community that is so excited and eager to support and spread your brand. So look at your most loyal customers and ask yourself, how can I make them feel even more valued and encourage them to share my business with others? This is going to save you so much time and so much money. Let's talk about something I think most of us can relate to, which is last minute card panic. It's the holiday season, and instead of scrambling to find stamps or digging through those generic store-bought cards, you can actually be ahead of the game for once. That's what Moonpig is all about. Moonpig lets you create the most thoughtful, personalized cards. You can add your favorite family photos, write something that'll make your loved one smile, laugh, or even tear up a little. And they'll even give you a nudge if you need some inspiration for exactly what to say. And here's the real magic. Get this, Moonpig mails the cards for you. No stamps, no late night trips to the post office, just you on the couch with your cozy blanket making holiday magic. Think about how much joy you can spread this year, whether it's grandma getting that sweet family portrait or a friend unwrapping a gift card that you've slipped inside the holiday card itself. It's so easy to add that personal touch. And with Moonpig, you can send cards to everyone on your list in a few clicks, so you never forget anyone again. It'll make you love sending cards all over again. And because I want for you to try it too, your first card is absolutely free. Just head to moonpig.com/US/gold digger. Again, that's moonpig.com/US/gold digger. Go make someone's day. Everyone deserves a Moonpig card. Okay, the last one is probably my favorite one, which is tasks and productivity. So likely 20% of your daily tasks drive 80% of your results. My question for you is this: when was the last time you did a time audit? Are you noticing a trend here? This entire episode is all about not only leveraging this principle, but you can't really leverage it if you're not aware of where your resources are going, whether it's your ad budget or your hours or your energy. It is so easy for us to get caught up in a never-ending to-do list that can feel like it is literally growing by the minute. But just like your marketing efforts, not all of the tasks that you are doing are created equal. In fact, likely only a small portion of what you do each day drives the majority of your results. So to maximize your productivity, if you are someone who feels like you are working so hard only to finish the day and you have no idea what you got done, you didn't get anything meaningful done, if that is you, you want to examine your to-do list. You want to do a full-blown time audit. I recently just did one with a team member because she was feeling overwhelmed. And I was like, I want for the next week, I want for you to track your time so that both of us can sit down and see, do you need extra software? Do you need extra team members? Do you need to outsource? Do you need to systemize? Do you need to create a process? And honestly, I think all of us need to do that. When you can identify which tasks are actually high impact, meaning those that actually contribute to your business growth and success, these are tasks that lead to revenue. These are tasks that build customer relationships. These are tasks that enhance your brand presence. Once you have pinpointed these essential tasks, this is where we need to prioritize them. I've often shared this one strategy that I've used for years upon years that has helped me so much, especially as someone with ADHD, which is having a big three and really prioritizing them. So my big three strategy is basically having three big tasks that if these are the only three things done that I get today was a success, and having those be at the top of my list before I go on social media, before I'm checking my email, before I'm in Slack. If I can just knock those three things out, then the rest is gravy. That has been so helpful for me, especially as it feels like my time is evaporated as a working mom. And so you want to make sure that you understand what are the essential tasks, but also how do I actively prioritize them? Maybe you're wondering, okay, well, that sounds great, but like there's other things that I have to get done. This is where you can start to understand the power of outsourcing or the power of automating. Look at the low impact tasks that are consuming your time. It could be things like routine admin work, social media posting, data entry. Consider if some of those things can be delegated to someone else, or if you could use technology to help automate processes. When you can offload some of these lower priority tasks, you are able to free up your mental space and your time to focus on the activities that actually move the needle. And a lot of times you will just start to see inefficiencies in the way that you're approaching things or the way that you're doing things. And what is also interesting and should be noted is that oftentimes when it comes to outsourcing some of these things, these might be things that you absolutely hate and that you dread. But let me tell you, there is somebody out there who loves the things that you hate. It's crazy, right? It is absolutely crazy, but it's true. There's one book that I absolutely love and recommend by a guy named Dan Martell, and it's called Buy Back Your Time. It is a fantastic book to read, especially at this time of year. But Dan has this really powerful framework for thinking about the tasks that you take on in your business. And he breaks them down into what he calls $10 tasks and then $100 tasks versus even higher value, like $1,000 tasks or $10,000 tasks. Basically, the idea is to identify the lower value repetitive work like answering emails, organizing files, handling small customer issues that don't contribute much to your overall business growth. And then he argues that these $10 or $100 tasks are essential. Obviously, you can't just stop doing them, but they shouldn't be demanding your time as the CEO, and they can and should be delegated or outsourced so that you can focus on work that truly moves the needle. And so what he emphasizes is shifting your focus to the high impact $1,000 or $10,000 tasks, the strategic work that actually drives your growth, like big picture planning or forming key partnerships or product innovation. And when you free yourself up from the smaller tasks and operate in your zone of genius, doing the things that only you can truly do, you can buy back your time to put towards activities that make the biggest difference in scaling your business. So the big takeaway here is spend less time on the day-to-day details and more time on the areas where your influence and creativity can truly multiply your results. And again, that book, Buy Back Your Time, 100% if you want to be a better business owner and really look at your business and be the CEO. It is so good. I've sent it to so many of my team members. We've created playbooks out of it. We've taken a lot of his strategies when it comes to outsourcing, and it has been such a game changer. But the goal here isn't to glorify busy. It's not just to be busy. I think oftentimes we equate being busy to being successful. We want to be effective. So when we can intentionally prioritize high impact tasks and streamline the rest, we can have a more productive and focused workflow, and we can know and rest easy at night knowing the things that we spent our time on actually moved the needle. And so the question to ask yourself are, what are the key tasks I need to prioritize today to drive the most significant results for my business? Now, here's one final disclaimer when it comes to Pareto's principle, because I hope after this episode, you can see it can impact your tasks and productivity. It can impact your customer relationships and referrals. It can impact your marketing channels and client acquisition. It's likely impacting your content and your engagement and your offers and your revenue. But here's what I want for you to not misunderstand when it comes to this principle. Some people see the 80-20 rule as a reason to fully dismiss the other 80% entirely, right? Thinking that you should only focus on the top 20% of your offers or your content or your clients to drive faster results. And I want to caution you on this idea of just like throwing the 80% away, because when you do that, that can limit your long-term growth and even cut off opportunities to discover new avenues for success. Instead, here's how I want for you to think of it. The 80% isn't irrelevant. It's still where you might find fresh ideas, nurture relationships, lay the groundwork for future wins. But by zeroing in and doubling down on that powerful 20%, you want to keep a thoughtful eye on the rest. When you do that, you set yourself up for sustainable and adaptable growth. So goal diggers, if you take just one thing away from today's episode, let it be this. Focusing on the right things in your business can unlock levels of growth that hard work alone just can't reach. And by understanding where the magic of the 20% lies in your offers, in your content, in your marketing, even in your daily tasks, you can give yourself the power to work smarter, to cut through the noise, and to truly scale with purpose. So as you go about your week, I challenge you to look at your business with fresh eyes, to do the audits, to look deeper. Where can you simplify? Where can you double down? And what can you even let go of? Your success is not about doing more. It's about doing more of what already works. All right, goal diggers, I hope you loved today's episode. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't yet, make sure that you are subscribed to the show so you never miss an episode. And if you were willing, would you take a minute and just leave a review on the show? I would absolutely love to hear from you. If this show has impacted your life or changed your business or given you a tip that you have taken and put it into action, if it has gotten you any sort of results, can you take a second and leave a review? It would absolutely mean the world to me. I love hearing from you and I love knowing what is landing in your life and your business. And of course, until next time, goal diggers, keep on digging your biggest goals and let's use Pareto's principle to help us maximize our results, our income, and our impact. Thanks for pulling up a seat for another episode of the Goal Digger Podcast. I hope today's episode fueled you with inspiration, gave you information that you can turn into action, and realigned you with your true north in life and business. If you've enjoyed today's episode, head on over to goaldiggerpodcast.com for today's show notes, discount codes for our sponsors, freebies to fuel your results, and so much more. And if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss a future show. We'll see you next time, goal diggers.